Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MeanGene Show here on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM, Las Vegas, week 13 of the National Football League. And it got underway Thursday night between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. We will talk about that plus much more here on the Mean Gene Show. Hope you are enjoying your weekend. And man, week 13, guess what? Only 4 more weeks of the National Football League. And I told you at the beginning of the year that things would move fast. And here we are with only one more month of football remaining. We are in the month of December, the first weekend in December. Before you know it, the season, I believe it's going to end January 9th. And oh my goodness, I mean, time flies. Okay, we have the holidays coming up, flex scheduling with the NFL. All of that stuff is going to be happening here pretty soon. So we are going to get you all caught up. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving weekend, and we certainly miss you over the Thanksgiving weekend. I tell you what, it was just, oh my goodness, so much happening with the games on Wednesday, and just trying to get the show prepared for you with the games that took place on Thursday, and there was just no way we could get on the air and just get you up to date information. So certainly missed everyone last week, but we are here today, and we are going to get you caught up. With everything that's happening. The Mean Gene Show is brought to you by Presidential Limousine by Captain. It's the official limousine service of the Mean Gene Show. There's absolutely no way you can experience Las Vegas until you ride in the Presidential Limousine by Captain. If you come to Las Vegas, make your reservations now by calling 702-438-5466, or you can text them at 702-410-6057. They will respond to you right away. The show is also brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Experience the award winning soul of Motown. It's a high energy concert style musical tribute celebrating Motown legends. This is a must see show during your Las Vegas vacation getaway. For reservations, call 888 796 3564. All right, so as I said, week 13 got underway Thursday night between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. And I tell you what, Saints fans, I don't know. I really felt bad. Once Jameis Winston went down early in the year, you just sort of seen the writing on the wall with the Saints. And man, I understand Sean Payton trying to shake things up. He started Taysom Hill on Thursday night. That just didn't really work well for the Saints at all. I mean, there was a spark for the offense, but it just didn't go the way the Saints wanted it to go. The Saints dropped to 5-7. Cowboys beat them 27-17. Cowboys improved to 8-4, and they are really looking good in the NFC East. They should win that division, but they really got a lot of tough games still to play in the NFC East division. So things are not really over yet for the Dallas Cowboys. I still, like I said, I think they're going to win that division. But man, the Saints have lost 5 straight games in a season for the first time in the Sean Payton era. Just something we haven't seen out of that team. And man, what a devastating hit to his record there. And yeah, I mean, Drew Brees retires last year. Jameis Winston looks very promising this year for the Saints. And then he gets hurt. He's out for the season. And then Taysom Hill, who they have used for gimmick plays, and he's just a good guy. He's just not your starting quarterback. But I understand, like I said, Sean Payton for putting him in there to see if they could just spark the offense. And then you didn't have Alvin Kamara, and there's just no way that you're going to win and beat a good Dallas Cowboy team who had dropped 2 in a row as well. They lose to the Raiders on Thanksgiving Day. Then prior to that, they lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. So you just knew that Dallas certainly couldn't afford to lose 3 in a row. And it was just a tough game. And I certainly thought that the Cowboys was going to come out of there with a win. Didn't think I didn't see much of that game on Thursday night, and I was not surprised by the outcome. So Saints dropped to 5-7, which, believe it or not, in the NFC with the wild card, the way things are looking, so many teams are just for that seventh and final spot in the wild card. Saints still have an outside chance there to make the playoffs with Carolina falling, the Seattle Seahawks falling, And the Washington football team, so many teams with that 5-7 record. Don't be surprised you're going to see a team with a losing record for that final seventh wild card spot in the NFC. I mean, this happened before where you had a team with a losing record to get a wild card spot, so it's probably going to happen this year too. But anyway, so the Dallas Cowboys improved to 8-4. Saints dropped to 5-7, and there you have it for Thursday night. So week 13 buys, and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. When you have a late buy, like some of these teams have, oh my goodness. So you got the Tennessee Titans. They have a buy at 8-4. They're first place in the AFC South. You got the Carolina Panthers 5-7, who's still somewhat in the hunt there for a playoff spot there. And you got the Cleveland Browns 6-6. They're somewhat still in the hunt there, maybe. Then you got the Green Bay Packers. Packers are 9-3, first place in the NFC North. They have a bye. The Packers will play the next time they will play the Chicago Bears. Browns, the next time they play is going to be versus Baltimore. The Panthers, they will play Atlanta, and the Titans will play Jacksonville. All conference games here, moving in late to the season here with only 4 more weeks left to go in the NFL season. So Titans, Panthers, Browns, Packers all have a bye in week 13 of the National Football League. So here we go. So we're not going to have a big selection of games here. Only 13 games for week 13, including your Monday night game. So we are going to go ahead and get it started here with the first game that's going to be taking place on Sunday. And Dustin Pfeiffer, who normally joins me, Dustin is tied up here this weekend, so we won't have Dustin. We'll have Dustin next week. Dustin Pfeiffer, who works for Bally Sports Southeast, covers the Carolina Panthers and the Charlotte Hornets of the NBA. Dustin join us next week on the MeanGene Show. So let's go ahead and start with the first game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 8-3 at the Atlanta Falcons 5-6. This is a conference game, NFC South conference game. The Atlanta Falcons are not mathematically out of the playoffs, so this is really going to be an interesting game. Falcons are at home. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 21-14 last week, and in a game that they had to win. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Indianapolis Colts 38-31 last week. And so I really got to pick someone in this game, and I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, although Cordarrelle Patterson, man, this guy, Cordarrelle Patterson had 135 scrimmage yards, and his career high, he rushed for 108 yards on 20, well, he had 108 rushing yards. And this guy, who is he's a running back now. He used to be a receiver, and you Minnesota Viking fans might remember Cordarrelle Patterson because he used to be with you, and he was a one-time wide receiver. So this is why he has that quickness and that burst of energy. Once he gets into an open field, he can do some damage. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to have their work cut out for him because even though Tampa Bay is really good at stopping the run, well, Cordarrelle Patterson is just not your normal running back. So he will probably be able to catch the ball from uh, the backfield and could actually run it. I mean, and he can catch these passes and run it. I'm trying to adjust my cell phone because it cannot be going off while we're doing a radio show. So anyway, so this is going to be an interesting game, and because it both teams are really trying to make sure that the Tampa Bay would just you know love to be able to host the NFC playoffs throughout. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they certainly have an outside chance of doing that. And they had an incredible run last year, including winning the Super Bowl, and right there at 8-3, Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals, a lot of teams there, the Rams and even the Dallas Cowboys there at 8-4. The NFC playoffs, it's going to be really interesting and important for a team to be able to host that throughout and not having to leave your home. So I know this game is going to mean a lot to the Buccaneers, but we're not going to count the Falcons out. But I got the Buccaneers winning. I have to say that the Buccaneers are going to win this game. And it's always exciting to see Tom Brady and Matt Ryan go against each other. You remember Super Bowl, was it Super Bowl 51? This is the one that was played in Houston, Texas, where Matty Ice had went up 28-3 on Tom Brady and the New England Patriots at that time. So there's still a lot of animosity between these two quarterbacks. Well, maybe not so much from Tom Brady because he did win that Super Bowl, but Matt Ryan, at least he has to prove that he could beat Tom Brady when it counts and when it's on the line. And this is certainly a game that the Falcons need to win. But how about the Falcons? I picked them to win last week, and even though we didn't do a show last week, I picked them to win, and they won. Normally, when I pick the Falcons to win, they lose, but I'm not picking them this Sunday. I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning and improving to 9-3. All right, the next game we have is the Arizona Cardinals 9-2 at the Chicago Bears. So the Cardinals still own the best record in the NFC, and I know the Bears would love to just knock them down and give them that third loss on the season, and then it's going to come down to tiebreakers and all of this stuff when you have several teams with three losses in the NFC. So the Bears defense is still pretty interesting there. They played on Thanksgiving. They get a field goal win over the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving Day last Thursday. And the Cardinals had a bye, so they haven't really played since Week 11. The they beat the Seattle Seahawks. Well, everyone has beaten the Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks in Week 11, 23-13. So I tell you what, I got to take a team coming off a bye. I know the Bears fans. Um, you guys have really played some great football, but that your 4-7 record, it is 4-7, and there's just no way I'm going to pick a 4-7 team to beat a 9-2 team. And this Arizona Cardinals team is coming off a bye, so I am going to take the Arizona Cardinals to win and improve to 10. Be the first team to win 10 games in the National Football League, if I'm not mistaken. So they will get the win in Chicago at Soldier Field on Sunday and take that lead there, a big lead in the NFC. All right, the next game we have is the Los Angeles Chargers, 6-5 at the Cincinnati Bengals, 7-4. And we look at the Los Angeles Chargers. I tell you what, the AFC West is getting to be interesting. Kansas City, the Las Vegas Raiders, big win over the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. I know a lot of people didn't see that, and I tell you what, I was there watching my television set with my son, watching the Raiders take on the Cowboys in Dallas, and that was a huge win, and certainly was pulling for the Raiders to get that win, big time win. Just wasn't a big win over Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. It had huge implications on what could happen in the AFC standings here, and it was just big. And what the Raiders have to do, of course, is continue to put together, big wins. And we'll talk about the Raiders here in a little bit, but it just makes that that AFC West interesting, and I think it's going to be interesting all the way to the very last game when the Chargers and the Raiders play on January 9th. I really think that game could come down to actually being for the division, and I really do. So stay tuned because it's just really every game, like I say, from this point out is going to be very, very critical. And I'm trying to pull up the standings here, and there we go, we got them. So looking at the AFC West, so you got Kansas City 7-4, Chargers 6-5, the Broncos are 6-5, and the Las Vegas Raiders, even though they set at last place 6-5, believe me, folks, it is not over. So this game between the Chargers and the Bengals, oh my goodness, the Bengals, they make quick work of the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, 41-10, and I love those Steelers, right? And it was tough to watch. As a matter of fact, I didn't spend much time watching that game on Sunday because the Cincinnati Bengals could do no wrong in that game. Joe Burrows completed 20 of 24 attempts, a career high 83.3 percentage there. And Joe Mixon Joe Mixon is just never one of those running backs people talk about a lot. Joe Mixon, a career high 165 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this guy's getting it done. Everyone is focusing on Jamar Chase, but Cincinnati has a nice mixture of, okay, well, we don't really need to throw the ball to Jamar Chase when Mixon is running the ball as well as he is and as well as he has been for the last couple of weeks. But this is not going to be an easy victory for the Chargers because the Chargers lose to Denver last week just when they thought that they could gain some momentum in the AFC West and just stay within arm's reach of the Kansas City Chiefs. They dropped to Denver, and man, Denver put it on them actually. So they lose to the Broncos 28-13. And Denver, I didn't see that one coming. I had the Chargers winning that game last week, but they lose 28-13. Now they're going to face a tough Cincinnati Bengals team, and that Bengals team, they made quick work of the Raiders a few weeks ago. So I'm going with the Bengals to win because the Bengals trying to, do their own thing in the AFC North, and this is not going to be an easy game at all for the Chargers, and it's a must win for the Chargers in the sense because they lose this game, they drop to 6-6, and this is not where they want to be. And I think this is exactly where they're going to end up. So I got the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Chargers in this game on Sunday, and the Bengals will go to 8-4, and I cannot wait for the Bengals matchup with the Baltimore Ravens because I think it's going to come down to those two teams in the AFC North. All right, the next game we have is the Minnesota Vikings, 5-6 at the Detroit Lions, 0-10-1. So I don't. So well, they're not going to go 0-17 because they have that tie in their record. So they will go 0-16-1. I mean, from the way it looks, Thanksgiving Day. Just when you thought the Detroit Lions would win at least that one game on Thanksgiving Day, and they didn't. The Bears kick a field goal late, and how many times have the Detroit Lions lost a game at the hands of a field goal kicker late in the game, and it happened again on Thanksgiving Day. So I have supported the Detroit Lions, or at least Dan Campbell, early on in the season, and then they just continued to play, you know, bad. And I really don't know. I don't know at this point in time. I don't think there's any heart in this team. I don't think there's anything left in Jared Goff. I don't know what this team is going to do, but probably just think and watch a lot of college football and see which one of those players they want to draft come next April when the draft takes place here in Las Vegas. I don't know what to say. And to think that years ago when they fired Jim Cardwell, that was the last winning season the Detroit Lions had, and they really thought they were doing something. And Cardwell had won a lot of games with them, and I still don't know how they justified firing him. And that was the karma that they are getting now. They have had one bad coach after another, one bad season after another, and at this point, Dan Campbell, I don't know how long he's going to last, but you got to think, every time you fire a coach, you bring in a new staff, and then it starts all over with these players. These players are going to be there longer than these coaches. So every time you bring in a new philosophy, a new scheme, or whatever they call it, then it starts all over, and then it sets teams back years. Okay, and you can ask the Cleveland Browns how many coaches, how many quarterbacks, how many draft picks, and they can never get anything going. And the opposite is with the Steelers and with the Baltimore Ravens. When you have and with even with Belichick and some of these teams that have tenure, when you have that system in place, how the organization shows consistency. But anyway, enough about Detroit. I got them losing on Sunday again, and they're gonna go to 0-11-1, and Minnesota will beat them, and Minnesota will get to 500 and go 6-6 on Sunday. All right, the next game, the Indianapolis Colts 6-6 will play at the Houston Texans. Texans are 2-9. Indy lose to Tampa Bay last week in a pretty good game, 38-31. Texans lose to the Jets and 21-14. So I got Indy winning this game. Indy will get over 500. They go 7-6. Texans will drop to 2-10. And this is not really going to be a great game to watch on TV Sunday, but Indy is really playing good. Carson Wentz is exceeding expectations, and the fact that he's playing football right now and healthy, that's a good thing. And Frank Reich, this has got to be just a good turnaround season because you don't know what's going to happen with Tennessee, especially with Derrick Henry out. And Tennessee, they are, good thing they got this bye week. Came at a good time for them so they can regroup and see how they are going to make things, how they're going to finish the season out there because they do not want to continue to go backwards there, especially with Indianapolis Colts playing great football, and they are really struggling there. So the bye came at a great time for the Tennessee Titans, but this is a game that the Indianapolis Colts, they got to win. They cannot be looking ahead there. They could really make a wild card spot, and the fact that they're playing so well, they could really be something to watch in the playoffs and could possibly upset some teams there. So I like Indy winning on Sunday. All right, so we can get one more game in before the break. The New York Giants 4-7 at the Miami Dolphins 5-7. The Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Now that I did pick that game, okay, and the Eagles just had been on a roll there, and then this was an NFC East conference game, so wasn't surprised at all. But the one that I'm not able to talk to Dustin about today, and I will follow up with him on this, was the Dolphins beating the Carolina Panthers 33-10, and this game was so out of control that they actually benched um, Cam Newton because Cam Newton had came back. He re-signed with the Panthers and was looking pretty good there, and a lot of teams just didn't know how to prepare for Cam. They didn't know what Cam they were going to see and how the Carolina Panthers was going to use him, but it didn't really take long for defenses to pick up on that, and Miami just really made him look bad in that game, made him look so bad that they had to bench him. And so I don't know, Panthers got a bye this week, so maybe they find a way to get Cam back into the offense, or maybe not. I don't know, but had to be a major setback for Cam Newton, who was, looking pretty good at one time, and then they had to just set him down, and maybe he comes back after the bye and they get it together. But man, big win there for the Miami Dolphins last week. Over the Carolina Panthers. So in this particular game, so Miami is at home at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The Giants, that win last week was just one of those rare occasions there in the division. Anything can go haywire, and it did for the Eagles. But I got the Dolphins winning the game on Sunday. The Dolphins will improve to 6-7. Giants would drop to 4-8, and we'll talk more about the Giants probably next week to see exactly what direction their team is going to go in. So, all right, so I think that's it. So we are at the bottom of the hour. When we come back, we'll knock out the remaining games for Week 13 of the National Football League. So you are listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM, Las Vegas. And we are back, folks. Once again, you're listening to the Mean Gene Show right here on KDWN 720 AM 101.5 FM, Las Vegas, getting you ready for Week 13 of the National Football League, which got underway on Thursday night. Cowboys defeating the New Orleans Saints 27-17. Cowboys improved to 8-4. Saints dropped to 5-7, which they still have an outside chance to make the wild card. I don't really see it happening, but they do have an outside chance. So we also wrapped up the first half of the show and the games that are taking place on Sunday. So we will wrap up the second half of the games that are taking place on Sunday, including your Monday night game and your Sunday night game. In this next segment of the show, once again, the show is brought to you by Presidential Limousine by Captain. It's the official limousine service of the Mean Gene Show. There's absolutely no way you can experience Las Vegas until you ride in a presidential limousine by captain. So if you ever in Las Vegas, make sure you make a reservation by calling 702-438-5466, or you can text them at 702-410-6057. They will respond to you right away. The show is also brought to you by the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. So now one of the things I like to do when I'm in Vegas is go over to the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, the sports book. If you've never been over to the sports book, fellas and ladies, you need to go over there and watch the games. I mean, it is the only place I think where you can sit down in the ultimate man cave and watch all of the games, whether it's baseball, football, hockey, you name it. They have it. They have multiple screens with multiple actions. Not to mention you can wager on your games and all of that stuff and sit back and just be entertained, and it is the ultimate experience. Cannot wait for the NFL playoffs, the Super Bowl, the NBA playoffs. All of that great action is going to be taking place over at the sports book at the Las Vegas Resort and Casino. All right, so we finished with the who was it? It was the Giants and the Dolphins. So I picked the Dolphins to win, to improve. The Dolphins still have that outside chance to make that wild card, so should be an interesting game. That's who I like on Sunday. All right, next game: Philadelphia Eagles 5-7 at the New York Jets 3-8. And I think there might be rain up there this weekend. Could have some soakers football games this weekend on the East Coast. Jets beat the Texans 21-14 last week. The Eagles lose to the Giants 13-7. I like the Eagles to get back on track now. Believe it or not, and here's a nugget of a stat for you. The Jets have won the past 11 games over the Eagles. Now, and that's the streak that's out there. Now, I don't know how, and this streak it could go back, many, many, many years. I don't know. Let's see when the last time they played. The last time they actually played was on October 6th, 2019. Eagles actually won that game. So what kind of streak are we talking about then? So the last game, so the Jets have won the past 11. That doesn't make any sense. And then the Eagles won 31-6. All right, so still trying to figure that out. Look like I got some bad information. So the last game at the site. So this game is going to be played at New York. The Eagles won that game too. So what kind of stat is that anyway? So just ignore that. All right, so Eagles won both. So they won 31-6 back on October 6th, 2019. All right, and then the last time they played at MetLife Stadium, the Eagles won that game 24-17. So, all right. Sometimes the NFL sends me some information. Should probably look over it before I tell you about it, right? So, all right. Well, I got the Eagles winning this game anyway over the Jets. I know the Eagles need to keep pace there. They played the Dallas Cowboys, I think, the last game of the year. So, with a 5-7 record, like I said earlier in the show, one of these teams in the NFC is going to get into the playoffs, or at least a wild card spot. I don't. I wouldn't say that they're going to go deep in the playoffs, but they certainly are going to get in there. And the Eagles still have that outside chance, even though there's a lot of separation. Let me look at the NFC East standing. So you got the Cowboys at 8-4, the Washington football team at 5-6. So two games there. Early on in the season, the Cowboys had a much greater lead there in the division, and the Cowboys still have like what, four division games left, if I'm not mistaken. Two against Washington, one against the Eagles, and one against the Giants. So, man, stay tuned for what could still happen there. And that's why every game still counts there over the next couple of weeks. A lot of division games left. So the Eagles know after losing to the Giants, which hurt them in a sense, because if you look at the records in the division, the Eagles are 0-2. All right, so the Cowboys are 2-0 in the division. The Washington football team 1-0 in the division, and the Giants 1-2. So a lot so they haven't played that many games in the division. So things could still be decided late once they get once we get late in December, and like I said, the season ends. the weekend of January 7th in the National Football League. So stay tuned for that. All right, so I got the Eagles winning over the Jets on Sunday. Next game we have Jacksonville Jaguars 2-9 at the Los Angeles Rams 7-4. Let's talk about the Rams. They had a chance to gain some ground at Green Bay last week, and that didn't happen. The Packers beat the Rams 36-28. And it seems like every time someone counts Aaron Rodgers and the Packers out, they prove them wrong. And everyone thought that the new and improved Rams, they pick up Odell Beckham Jr., they pick up Von Miller, and they have a chance to sort of reload. They come off a bye, which gives them a chance to like get those guys acclimated into the team, and that didn't happen. So we are looking at a possibility of the Packers, I mean, of the Rams actually, um, uh, getting back on track here, and I think that's going to happen here. So you got the Jacksonville Jaguars 2-9. They lose to the Falcons, which they should have. I mean, they lose 21-14 last week, and now we are looking at the Rams. They know with that loss, they cannot afford to lose anymore, and they still have an outside chance of hosting the playoffs at SoFi Stadium, and they could do what Tampa Bay did last year. The Super Bowl is going to be played there, and they could be in it. If they win the NFC West, and if they host the playoffs throughout and don't lose in the playoffs, they would be in the Super Bowl right there at SoFi Stadium, which that could happen. But they got to beat Jacksonville, and Jacksonville is a team that everyone is you know. Beaten them so far, except two teams that did not beat them. But I think the Rams get this win. I don't think they're going to have any problems with Jacksonville. They know what they got to do, and it shouldn't be much of a game. I think they make quick work of the Jacksonville Jaguars and look forward to the next opponent. So the Rams win this game on Sunday. All right, the next game we have is the Washington football team 5-6 at the Las Vegas Raiders 6-5. So this is going to be a good game. And my friend Charles Leno Jr. We had Charles Leno Jr. on the show early on. Actually, we had him on the show before the season started. So he makes his trip to town. And I know, Charles, you've been listening to the show. So you're in Vegas. So I know you won't be distracted because Coach Rivera won't let you be distracted. And but Charles Leno Jr. We had him on the show, and we wasn't really talking much about football. We were talking about some of the things Charles Leno Jr. and his wife what they were doing out in the community. You can remember Charles Leno Jr. was actually helping some of the Afghan refugees. Him and his wife was putting together care packages and just sort of assisting those folks. This is when the military, the United States Army and the Navy and everyone had vacated Afghanistan. So and they were sending people all over the country. So him and his wife decided that they would donate supplies and stuff. And it was a big story, made national news. So we had a chance to have him on the show. We talked about it. And then we talked about, football too, because Charles Leno Jr. used to play with the Chicago Bears. During the offseason, he got traded to the Washington football team and been playing pretty good. Has that team within two games of the Dallas Cowboys. And I saw him the other night. They defeated the Seattle Seahawks on Monday night. So they're coming off a short week. But hey, he's still starting there on that offensive line. So this is going to be a big time game Sunday in Vegas. And of course, the Raiders are coming off a big time win over the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, this is a big time, big time. But what we have seen in the history of the Raiders this year, despite everything that's happened with this team, from the John Gruden to the Henry Ruggs to one of the other players that they had to release. I mean, the Raiders bounce back. They have a setback and they bounce back. And even on the field, they get uh, kicked around by the Browns, not the Browns, the Bengals, and then they come back with that huge win over Dallas, and Of course, they got beat by the Bears at home. The home games are just really tough for the Raiders, but this is a game they really have to win, and this is a must-win for both teams. Washington has as much reason to win this game, but I tell you what, whew, so I got to pick somebody, right? And I was so impressed with how the Raiders handled the Dallas Cowboys. They really need this win, and I went over the standings. Everything is close. Washington and Dallas, 2 games separate them. In the Raiders division there in the AFC West, Raiders get this win, uh, coupled with a Chargers loss on Sunday. The Raiders should be in second place, right behind Kansas City. All right, so I'm going to go with Las Vegas to win this game. All right. Uh, Sorry, Charles. You probably won't listen to my show anymore, right? I'm sorry, but I got to go with the Raiders to win this game on Sunday. I think the sense of urgency is there, and I know it's there for the Washington football team as well. But I think, man, you just got to like what you saw on Thanksgiving Day and how the Raiders handled um, the Cowboys, a team that beat the Saints on Thursday night. So that's who we got. That's who we're gonna pick for Sunday. All right, the next game we have is the Baltimore Ravens, 8-3, at the Pittsburgh Steelers, 5-1. So, all right, let's talk about this because let's talk about the Ravens first because I'm going to spend a little time on the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? So the Ravens, they win over Cleveland 16-10. So it's never pretty, and it doesn't really have to be because the Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns, and people are trying to figure out, okay, well, you don't have Odell Beckham anymore, so what's really going on? And they they just struggle, and the Baltimore Ravens played the ugliest game uh, of the season, and I think Lamar Jackson, how many interceptions did he have? And they still won. And this is where it's scary playing the Ravens because they're not always going to play ugly games like that. John Harbaugh realizes that they basically stole a game and they got that win. Now, on the other hand, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they lose 41-10. All right, so now they're at home. And usually these Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers matchups are close games, but I don't know. I just really don't know. After the Bengals, and this is back-to-back AFC conference games here for or division games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben just had a bad game, and I don't know how many times we've said that this year about Big Ben. And I understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers are just really showing. We at the beginning of the year, and me and Mr. Picks had talked about this is one of those appreciation tours for Big Ben. It's just tough. The Giants went through this with Eli Manning, knowing that this guy had brought them 2 Super Bowl championships, and regardless of how bad he was playing at the time, it was just tough to bench him or set him down. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are now at that point of trying to make a decision. What do you do with Big Ben? Because the team is still somewhat competitive at 5-1, meaning that one tied with the worst team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. And it was Big Ben didn't play that game. And that's one reason why they got that tie. But still, I think had Big Ben played that game, the outcome, I picked the Detroit Lions to win that game, and that would have been even worse. But I don't know. I think the Ravens win this game, and this could ultimately decide for the Pittsburgh Steelers that Big Ben, this okay, you let them play out because if the Ravens win this game on Sunday, then the Pittsburgh Steelers season is mathematically over as far as any possible playoffs. Um, and then Mike Tomlin, since he's been there, 15 years, has never had a losing season. But it's just, I mean, but he's never had a quarterback, an aging quarterback either. Big Ben was a younger quarterback that contributed to all those winning seasons. So now he's faced with the same thing the Giants was faced with. An aging quarterback. Everyone cannot be Tom Brady, 44 years old and playing great football. It's just not going to happen. Big Ben has been beaten up a lot in his career, and I think the Ravens come into Pittsburgh Sunday and get the win. And it's just it's tough to make that prediction, but I just don't know how they recover from um, and I hope I'm wrong here, but man, just seeing how they fell to Cincinnati last week, I don't know how they recover, and if they lose Sunday, I think the decision will be made to just okay, well, you just let Big Ben play the rest of the year, and then the Steelers need to be looking in another direction as far as quarterback. So that is my prediction on Sunday. The Ravens get the win. Steelers probably drop to 5-6-1. Ravens improved that to 9-3, which might give them the division because the Steelers still have to play them twice, so they could split. But I don't know. It's been a rough one for Steeler Nation, so we will see. All right, the next game we have is the San Francisco 49ers 6-5 at the Seattle Seahawks 3-8. All right, so I was prepared to talk to Dustin about the Seattle game on Monday night because we had texted each other during the week. The Seattle Seahawks look really, really bad. So I'm gonna go from one bad quarterback to another. Russell Wilson looked horrible. I don't know. At some point in time during Monday night's game, I thought maybe he should have the same LASIK eye surgery that um, Jameis Winston had because I don't know who he was throwing the ball to, and it was just really tough to watch the Seattle Seahawks. So you're seeing an organization that's probably falling from grace. It was Seattle Seahawks really look bad. They lose Monday night to the Washington football team, um, 17-15. So they're coming off a short week. And there was a time that it was hard to pick against the Seattle Seahawks, especially at home in Seattle. And then you get the 49ers, they come to town. So this is an NFC West division game. 49ers are 6-5, Seahawks are 3-8. And I don't after watching Monday night's game, I don't have any reason to pick the Seattle Seahawks. They're just not the same team. And I do expect Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll to go in different directions this year. I don't see how I don't see how it happens. I don't see how they win this game. I don't see how they salvage their season. I think Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers just go in there and beat them um, and just sort of, seal the deal as far as Pete Carroll stepping down or, getting fired, Russell Wilson being traded or sent elsewhere. But anyway, I got the 49ers winning the game on Sunday. All right, the next game. Oh, this should be a good one here. And this is going to, kind of define what's going to happen in the AFC West. Denver Broncos 6-5 at the Kansas City Chiefs 7-4. So Chiefs coming off a bye, which should be scary for the Broncos. Andy Reid, and you're going to hear this over and over again. Andy Reid coming off a bye week, when he has a chance to prepare his team, uh, coming off a bye, this guy has a almost spotless record. So Denver, I know you had a good win over the Chargers last week, and there's just no way you're going to beat Kansas City Andy Reid team coming off a bye. The Chiefs haven't played a game since they beat Dallas back in Week 11, so they've had a chance to get their wounds together. And I told you, teams that have a bye this late in the season, man, this is good news. This is good for Andy Reid. So his teams have had a chance to heal. And Patrick Mahomes, all those guys, they sit around, watched all those Thanksgiving games, and 10 days off pretty much. And and this is good. This is good stuff. Or 2 weeks off actually. So this is good for the Kansas City Chiefs. So they will get this win over Denver, and this is why that the Raiders, if they beat the Washington football team, it's going to be important. And if the Chargers lose to the Bengals, the Raiders will be right back there in second place, and hopefully we'll get a wild card spot there in the AFC playoffs. So I like the Chiefs over the Broncos on Sunday. And let's see who else we got. The next game. This is going to be your. Actually, you know what? That was your Sunday night game. All right, I'm moving so fast here, I didn't even realize. The Broncos and Chiefs is your Sunday night game. All right, so that is going to be your NBC Sunday night game. And let's see, did I miss anything on? So I mean, no. Well, I tell you what. So I want to go back and talk a little bit more about Denver because I don't want to diss the Broncos fans because that win over the Chargers last week was very impressive. And I'm not saying you don't have a chance to beat the Chiefs, but you got to go to, well, I mean, both teams play in cold weather cities there, especially this late. We're here in December, although the weather is really kind of warm right now, but Kansas City is just that bye. If Kansas City didn't have that bye week, if they just didn't have that opportunity to just sit there and wait, I mean, they have been resting, and that's why I give them the upper hand. But no, I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos beat the Chiefs on Sunday. But you're talking about the Broncos team, man. They get rid of Von Miller, the leader of their defense, and they still get that win over the Chargers. That was a big win. Now, I am not saying that it wasn't, but now you got to go to Kansas City, and Andy Reid. He has just had too much time to prepare. Okay, watched all the Thanksgiving games and just sitting around just preparing. And I know he might have given his team time off, but he didn't take that time off. And Andy Reid is going to be ready. So the Chiefs are going to win this game on Sunday. All right, so now we can talk about the Monday night game, which is going to be another good one. And let's see, do I have enough time to talk about? Yeah, we can talk about that. Here, let's see. We're gonna knock out this pick here. So it's the New England Patriots 8-4 at the Buffalo Bills 7-4. Somehow the Patriots, with a rookie quarterback, no Tom Brady. This is baby Brady. This is what I call. I call Mac Jones baby Brady. A rookie quarterback has the New England Patriots 8-4, and they are playing the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are 7-4. The game is going to be in Buffalo. I tell you what, the Bills need to win this game, and they know it. I know it, you know it, everybody knows it. So I am going to pick the Bills to win because it's a must win. They cannot let Bill Belichick and that rookie, Baby Brady, go in there and beat them. And because if it does, everyone is already talking about the Patriots and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, and we can't have that. That just cannot happen. I mean, we already saw Tom Brady go back to New England and beat his old coach, and that was enough. Okay, that was fine. We do not want to see Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl. That just can't happen. But it actually can, and it's not far fetched because I mean, no one saw the New England Patriots having success with a rookie. They ditched Cam Newton, made that decision, and and look at look at Bill Belichick and look at this rookie quarterback, and the Patriots are 8-4. Everyone thought when Tom Brady left the Patriots that would be the end of their success, and as Lee Corso says, not so fast. They're getting it done. So anyway, it's going to be a hell of a Monday night game. I actually cannot wait to Monday night because this game is definitely going to be worth watching. All right, so that's it. Those are the games for Week 13 of the National Football League. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will see you back here next week with Dustin Pfeiffer on the Mean Gene Show right here on KDWN 720 AM, 101.5 FM, Las Vegas.